What's up, good people? Welcome in. We're jam-packed today. When I mean jam-packed, I'm not even going to talk to y'all beforehand. We're going to get right into it. We're talking point guards today, and we have a lot of point guards on the show. We have Aari McDonald, Danielle Robinson, and the Hall of Famer Steve Nash, and I'm just going to let you guys into the life of point guards because I don't think y'all understand what we go through, the type of responsibilities we have. So I'm going to talk to point guards at 3 different levels, some starting their career, some still playing but that are vets, and then a retired point guard that's had a great career. Also, mamas are kind of the point guards of the family. So we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about Dear Mama on FX. Let's go. Tap in, big show. All right, so first of all, we have Aari McDonald on here, Serena's favorite player, by the way. So, and we don't say that every time because she only has one. So, Aari, welcome to the show, baby.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I want to go point guard to point guard because I'm having conversations with Steve Nash, as you know, is a Hall of Fame point guard. But I want to talk to all different types of point guards because I'm a point guard, and I feel like we have to think the game different. We know that there's an ebb and flow. We know that we have to take responsibility for things that ain't even our fault.
Facts.
Okay, so I know you know what I'm saying when I start out. So first of all, what is a point guard?
A point guard is a floor general, the extension of a coach on the floor. Just that person, like you should know every position of every play, what they need to be doing, where they need to be located on the court. So, I mean, and like you said, when things go wrong, it's your fault.
Okay. Okay, when things go right, it's whoever scored the most. Okay,
Right.
so look, we gonna really talk, and I'm not gonna get you in trouble because I'm the point guard that's retired now. I'm gonna just say it. But what are things when you go into a game, like what things do you know you can control?
I can control my effort, I can control my communication, and I can control I can control a lot, just like my turnovers. I know that's something I need to work on. So I think with those things, if I can control that, I'll be fine.
And that's for you. And then what things can you control team-wise?
Team-wise, I can control where everyone needs to be placed. So before a set is called, I need to get everybody organized and get them in their spots. And also just the reads. I can control the reads. So if I'm seeing how a defender is playing, I need to look at the second line, or if they're cheating or something, and looking at my teammates and just knowing where they're successful at on the floor.
So I love that you're saying this because you're going like the next level where you need to set your teammates up, put them in good positions to be successful. What kind of prep does that look like for point guards? Because like, I'm just going to keep it real. Like, I done had a lot of 2 guards on my team, 3 guards. They can just pull up to the games, honey. We going to give them the ball where they need it. They might have watched film. They might not have watched film. But point guards, we don't really have that luxury.
Yeah. So just with me growing as a player, I've been very intentional, like with just like when we're watching film and I see when I have to guard, or just how others who like, you know, I know that people last year, they used to top block Ryan, so it was hard. So just seeing how she's being played, or now I want to see how Alicia's being played and just who's guarding me. So I'm just watching to see what they're doing, and I'm knowing their tendencies on the defensive end. So I'm just reading them and just read and react.
You know what I'm saying? We reading the game. What did your offseason, like, what were you working on? Like, you know, like every year, you know, even Nia Coffey, she said she came back, she worked on her physicality more this offseason. She lifted more weights. Like, what was your focus this offseason for you?
This year, I wanted to gain more muscle, which I did.
Okay, come on.
I'm
You
solid
solid out here. Okay.
And for one thing, just working on my reads and getting to my spot and just working on my middies. So that's something I feel like, you know, I got away from.
Middies is a mid-range.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a mid-range.
It's great. Y'all are getting
lost
around.
art. Yeah, it's a lost art in the game. So just trying to perfect that and just make sure I'm more consistent at that and my 3-point shot.
So who picks you up when you're down? Because a lot of times, like as point guards, we're the ones that are like, you got it. Hey, keep
right.
up. Like, who's picking you up then when you're going through something? Like, how do you get yourself out, or who's helping you out?
For one, off the court, my husband is helping me out.
Okay,
then on the court, AD and I, we gained that trust. And so when I'm down, AD be like, come on, A, you got it. Like, you got it.
I love
So
that. And what is, because I've talked to all range, like the rookies, their first year, other things like, so year 3, what would you tell somebody that was about to enter training camp? They're coming from college. They have no idea what to expect. Like, you were there, but now you're year 3. So like, what would you want to tell yourself before you started camp your rookie year?
looking back, I would have told myself, do what has gotten you here. At times you might get lost in like trying to like put yourself in a bubble or allow others to do that for you. So just do what has gotten you, whether that's scoring, playing defense, being the best communicator, the best screener. Do that and just stay the course. Basketball is a game, like don't get too high, don't get too low, and just when your number is called, be ready to deliver.
I love that. And hubby was the one that she said helps you off the court. How do you balance? Like, because athletes, like, we're a full-time job for somebody to even be associated with us because we have schedules we got to keep. We need to go to sleep. We want to be rested for the next day. Like, how do you balance that? You got to, are y'all married yet? You engaged?
Yeah, we got married. It'd be 2 years.
You know what I'm saying? She 2 years in this thing. All right, but like, how do you balance being fresh on the scene as a wife?
It's tough. Marriage, it's work, definitely.
Yes,
but
I'm married.
My husband was an athlete, so I mean, he understands the schedule, he gets it, and he knows that, I want to be great, so he understands the process and what it takes. So some days I might not see you till like 7 p.m. I'm sorry, but it's my job, so he gets it though.
Wow, I love it. You get it now. I'm so happy for you. Thank you for joining me here. Y'all already know. Dap us up on the sidelines when we cheer for y'all because we are your number one fans.
I got you. I hear y'all on the side.
You do?
I hear y'all.
Okay. All right, so we had a point guard that's 3 years in the game, and now we're moving on to a vet, Danielle Robinson, who's still playing in the WNBA right now. Get it. All right, so we have Danielle Robinson joining us, and it's crazy because we've been playing against each other forever.
Forever.
For a long time. So since when? Like, I mean, you went to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That was the first time we played, but like, what was them matchups like? I remember y'all had the pairs.
We did, but I remember we went to UConn. I don't know if, I think you might have graduated by then, but we got whooped.
Which year was it? You don't know what year
no,
was
but we got whooped. We were in store and we got whooped. Oh man, it was bad. Coach Cole, I remember she lit us up. We couldn't say hi to our family after the game, nothing.
No.
She was like, get on the bus and we're going back to Norman.
It's funny because family members don't even know that they caught it straight. It's like,
exactly.
Be like, hey, everybody just going home. Man. You just have to text everybody.
I'll catch you next year. See you later.
See you next year. So you're here in Atlanta. Welcome to the A.
Thank you.
The way,
thank you.
I'm excited to have you here though because you're a vet, and I feel like we grew up in the same era. So I feel like I know what you think, how you think in the big game of basketball. But what have you seen change? Like, because now you're playing with people that are coming in as rookies. So like,
crazy.
Yeah, it's like they're a whole different type of hoopers. Like
they are.
So how would you describe what's different though?
I think a lot of the, first of all, sometimes they don't know the players. So that's like interesting for me. I'm like, I've been doing this 10 years. I've been playing this for 10 years.
That's an ongoing conversation though. Like, because the younger generation doesn't watch.
They don't.
That's crazy. So what are those differences you've seen?
Yeah, so that, I think a lot of them are surprised by the physicality. I think the college game has changed a little bit with the physicality. I remember when I was playing, it was like super physical. We played against like the A&Ms. They were like a defensive team, all kind of scrappy. And so
I said, y'all had the Paris twins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who's guarding them? I don't know. They were guarding themselves. That was it. But yeah, I think the physicality is definitely one of the biggest things.
Yeah, it's funny because I've asked like rookies and everybody in here, and that's one of the things that they literally mentioned was the hardest adjustment. I want to talk a little bit of point guard to point guard though, because I'm going to be talking to all different types of point guards, and I want to, because we have a different experience.
Oh, yeah.
Our game of basketball experience is different. We have to worry about somebody else making a mistake that we don't have to just worry about our mistakes.
All the time.
I love that point guard because I know
all the time. It's like, I know that wasn't for me. Like, there's no way you're yelling at me for that.
For that turnover
exactly.
that I had nothing. I told them to slow it down. So when you go into a game, like what things are you knowing that you can control and trying to control being a point guard?
Yeah, I think I can control my effort. I can control my energy. Those are always things that I can control. No matter if I'm having a good game, bad game, you're the first person that your team sees, out front defensively, bringing the ball up. And so you can't ever have bad body language. So that's one of the biggest things that I learned, especially in college. Like, I'm very, very hard on myself. And my coach told me, like, you can be hard on yourself, but you can't show it externally. And so I think that's, what I pride myself on is that no matter what, I got to be even keel. Missing a shot, making a shot, turn the ball over, I'm going to try and get it back, but my energy is going to stay the same.
So, all right, so we're the ones, like, because I feel you, like, we got to have the good energy every day.
Every day.
So what literally every day we can't have a bad day.
We can't have a bad day.
So what happens when you're having a bad day? Like, who's helping you out?
My home life.
Okay, no, that's
my home
real.
life. Yeah, usually I just try and take care of myself in the same way, get a massage, get in the sauna blanket and just like sweat everything out, meditate. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard. There are days where you're just like, I just want to scream, like I want to tell the coach like this person, but it's like you can't. You don't. Because you're a good teammate and you're going to take the brunt of it as a point guard, and that's just what you have to do.
I just want people to really understand, because every point guard I talk to, we have the same thing. We know that we can't have a day off. We know that we have to have a good energy. We know that we have to be on point every day. I don't know if I'm making sure people understand the things that point guards have to do on a regular basis. And then you come in on a new team. Yep. So you're here now. Yep. You're supposed to be like the vet, right? So everybody's expecting that. And Barbara Turner said something in practice. She said, I got to shout out D-Rob because I've been on her head, right? And what did she say to why she was shouting you out, though?
Because she's been pushing me. She's been pushing me really hard to be that person, to be at the forefront of everything in every single drill. Doesn't matter if it's a new team or not.
So because I'm giving you grace right now, because I know that be a leader on a new team is not easy.
It's not.
To be a vet point guard leader on a new team, you learning the system too.
Exactly. Everything. The pace, the communication, how, everything's different. Every team, like terminology, all that is different. So, but I've been I feel like in enough situations where you just got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. Yes, you don't always have a lot of time, but you got to figure it out. And that's the tough part about, I don't have to just figure it out for me. I have to figure it out 1 through 5.
Literally.
So 1 through 12, actually.
Facts. And so how is it going? Like, how has it been? I mean, like you said, you play on different teams. You're here in Atlanta now. What's the feels?
I like it a lot. I love it, actually. From the top down, the organization, it feels right. And so to be here, coming from a different situation, I'm happy.
I like that.
I'm real happy.
And speaking of happy, you said your home life and different things. Aari talked about, her husband is what helps keep her grounded. How are you balancing everything? Like, I like to ask athletes this because I want people to know that, we want to be our best, ultimate, great selves. So that means going to sleep at a certain time, eating at a certain time. But then there's other humans where they might have things going on in their life that you need to be present for.
Exactly.
So how do you balance?
Yeah, well, my wife, she's very, we're very, very opposite. When we first met, she was going to bed at 9:30. I was like a night owl, 2 a.m.
Oh my God, it's
now, now I'm like, ooh, 8 o'clock, time to get into bed. She rubbed off on me, but her energy, she's a health and wellness advisor. So she's all into, meditating and taking time for yourself and really just being at peace with yourself and knowing what's going on. And so I've grown over the last few years in that area because, for me, I'm fine. I'm no, I'm tired.
And how is that? Because I literally have a problem saying I'm not fine. So why, what made you break through to actually say what's really going on? Because people don't realize we're taught to always be fine.
Oh yeah, always be good.
Yeah.
I think it was just, everything that, the climate of the world and just being there are specific times where I don't feel like myself. I don't have energy, sometimes I wake up now at 34, ooh, my bones hurt.
Yeah, you still playing. I mean, we the same. We don't say you still playing.
My bones hurt, and it's okay accepting that. So, just being okay with that.
Take care of them bones.
I got you.
I appreciate you joining me.
Just know if I hop on you on the sideline, just hold me. Okay?
I got you.
Coming up next, we have the Hall of Famer, point guard, Steve Nash. Point guard to point guard. This is lit. I'm telling you right now, because you're one of those players that everybody knows who you are. Everybody knows what you've done. 2-time MVP, which doesn't happen from the point guard position. So Steve Nash, welcome to the show.
Big fan of yours.
Oh, please, listen, y'all get me hype up in here, but listen, it's NBA playoffs right now. And the NBA playoffs are going on right now, and we've seen some Game 7s. You played in 4 Game 7s during your NBA career, 2 with the Phoenix Suns in 2005 and 2006, and 2 with the Dallas Mavs in 2003 and 6. And so I'm just curious because when you've already played against a team 6 games, what is your mindset? What are the things you're keying in on that Game 7?
That's why, people say Game 7 is the greatest phrase in sports, because if you play a one-off elimination game, it can be great. It's still, everything's on the table and it's high pressure and high stakes. But when you play a team 7 straight times, and it takes 2 weeks or more, there's more on the table, because now it's personal. You've been going at them and they've been going at you for, like I said, 2 weeks. And so it's a really special opportunity to kind of finish a series in dramatic and emphatic fashion when everything's on the line like that. So it's kind of like such a unique situation that it's really almost hard to prepare or to visualize. You have to go through it in a sense. It's about controlling your emotions. It's about being present. And fortunately, I think everyone has a different psychological makeup. Some people are probably like scared before the game. Some people are like just so confident, and then it all kind of meets back in the middle when the game starts.
And what was your energy?
Yeah. I think I was like in the middle. I was like confident, but also anxious. Like I was definitely kind of had nerves and anxiety, but also confident. And I think for me, I always kind of had this thing like I hope like luck is on your side as well. Like I know I've done the preparation, but you know how it is. You have good games, bad games, the ball goes, it doesn't go, whatever. Like that stuff happens too. So I always kind of almost had this like part of me that was thinking cosmically, like what's happening and how's this gonna play out? I know I'm ready, I know we're ready, but you never know how the ball bounces. And so unfortunately that's probably a waste of energy because you don't have any control over that anyways. But
sounds good though, but you're going to waste that energy. It sounds good, but
you are going to waste the energy no matter what, because it's a stressful thing. But that is the best feeling in the world, to have that stress and to have it all on the line. And there's nothing better. I coached a game 7 a couple of years ago against with the Nets against the Bucks, and we went to overtime in game 7. KD towed the line on a 3.
Toe on the line.
Yeah. But I just remember like how badly I wish I could have played.
You're coaching the game. I was going to ask that. So you be in those big moments, you want to be out there because it's like, is it the control thing? Because you know that you're ready and could like control and do things that you wanted to do.
Okay, let me be clear. Like, I really didn't want to be out there because I know those days are gone. But the opportunity to play in a game 7 is like,
of course.
I was envious for the guys. Like, I was happy for them. I wanted them to enjoy it, and it's so special. And you don't get the opportunity to do it. I played 18 years. I played it, like you said, in 4, and so it doesn't come around often. And so I was excited for the team, but also in a way envious because I'll never play in a game 7 again.
Facts. No, we have game 5s in the WNBA, and for 3 years straight, I played in 3 game 5 of 5s. And you're right. There's something about that experience where that's why people want vets on their team. Like when people say like, oh, why is this guy getting picked up? And it's like, he's been there. He's going to know how to tell people what to think, how to feel, and all of those different things. And that also kind of makes me think about like when point guards and controlling the game, and we're going to get into that later, but as a Hall of Famer, you played in the league 18 years, 2-time MVP, which is an elite group that only very few can claim, very few point guards in particular can claim. But there's so much talk about legacy and championships. And Giannis talked about how that process matters. The process of all of it matters. You talked about you played in 4 game 7s. You were a part of the process. So do you think winning is shapes a player's legacy? Like, do you have to win a championship for it to shape your legacy, or does that really or the process matter?
I think it does. Like in the modern, like I never won a championship, and I think if I had of, your perceived legacy would be different. We're really close with Dirk and his family and the Finleys. Like we played together in Dallas, and we're family friends, and we go on vacations together, and like that is a a cherry on top of their resume, and for them to have capped their career with a championship. So that is that is real. At the same time, like this is all perceived, right? Like we make all these narratives up. So you can also like create your own perception, right? And so for me, like, yeah, it hurts still a little bit that I didn't win a championship. At the same time, like life is so much bigger than basketball, and the fact that I personally or my teams didn't get it done, that's what makes it special to win. And must have played in 4 or 5 conference finals and never got over the hump, but gave it everything I had. I was obsessed with my craft, and I hope I'll be remembered as a great teammate, leader, and competitor, but didn't win a championship. So I'm sure my legacy is I guess my body of work speaks for itself. I had a great career, but it didn't have that cap on it. At the same time, like I got so much out of the game of basketball, so many incredible memories, and there's so much more to life that's important to me. That I'm busy living, not busy looking in the past and seeing what I accomplished and what I didn't accomplish.
No, I love that because it is the bigger picture. Like people, I think if people understood the process of how hard it is to even lose in a conference finals, like if people understood that honestly, like, and I know
Mm-hmm.
like people are gonna be like, oh, more of it, like that honestly is tough. Like there's some teams that would love to make it to the conference finals, and then there were some teams
Mm-hmm.
that would love to make it to the finals as well. And everybody wants to win a championship, but people, if people really understood how hard the process was and how good everyone
Right.
is. I mean, I was talking to Charles Barkley during a roundtable discussion and had Spike Lee, Jackie McMillan, and all these other people on there. And we were basically talking about like, it was called the Great Debate. And we were talking about that, what you said, who makes the rules for why something is a GOAT or the greatest or anything of that nature.
Right.
I mean, because when you even look at MVPs awarded back to back, you said you hope your legacy, yes, there's the MVP's Most Valuable Player Award was debuted in 1955, and there have been 14 instances by 12 people in which they have won back-to-back seasons, and you're one of them. So I don't want, like, there's
Yeah.
not really a lot of people that can be in that category, and so your legacy
Right.
is defined by that. What was that time period like, though? Like, I mean, and winning it once is one thing. To do it again, unheard of.
Well, first of all, thank you. I was fortunate. When I left Dallas to Phoenix, that team was a perfect fit for me. They had won 26 games the year before I got there, and I think we won 63 my first year, so 62, 63 my first year, and that but they needed a creator, they needed a leader, and so it was a great fit for me. And we had some really, I think, in a way, we impacted the game, and more than just our play. I think we influenced the way it was played. We played fast. We played in transition. We played pick and roll, and we're able to spread people out. And I was able to create, and that highlighted my strengths. I think for me though, what's important about that is the story. I'm a kid from the west coast of Canada. I didn't have NBA players in my neighborhood. I didn't like, there wasn't the access to the elite of the game. We had Sonics games we had the Seattle TV stations to get Sonics games, which helped us fall in love and see the game at the highest level. But it's a story of a kid who had a dream and a ball and a hoop and got obsessed with it and would go out and practice every spare moment and just kept chipping away. I had one scholarship offer to Santa Clara that came late. Like I visited Santa Clara after my senior year. The offer, they came to see me like in my state, like provincial championship. So it wasn't like they even saw me until like the end of my high school year. So I could have very easily gone to a Canadian university or college. So like that's the story of, I think, just having a dream, having a passion for something, sticking to it, putting days on top of each other and never letting go. And so it's a story about becoming obsessed with something. And it just, I think, is something that for me it means a lot to me, because I think it's something that can transfer to other people in whether it's in basketball or whatever it is in life, to believe, to make a plan for yourself, to be creative, to put pen to paper and build the life you want to build. And so that's really what it means to me. Basketball is beautiful and I love the game and it's given me so much, but life is bigger. And there's a lesson in there, I think, that I can share from my experience with everybody.
After the break, we continue with Steve Nash and more about block training. You have a new app called Block Training where you talked about, you're a guy that loves movement. Movement is central to everything. Your mental health, your mood, your sleep, your diet, relationships are heavily influenced by the movement of the body. So just tell me about why you even wanted to start block training and about it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. This all started in my career. I was, as you just said, I had a one scholarship kid that just wasn't the biggest, tallest, fastest, most explosive player. I wasn't going to overpower people. I wasn't like at the end of the gene pool that some of these incredible athletes are that you're competing with. So I had to have this curiosity to try to win the margins. And so that led me to like, what are the best practices in like training, skill acquisition, recovery, diet, sleep, all these things. And this is when, now these things are all pretty common, but 25 years ago wasn't nearly as common. And so I went on this kind of journey to try to find out how I could improve and how I could compete in different ways. And, one of the ways that had a huge impact on my life was really training myself to move well, movement training. And I got to work with Dr. Rick Celebrini, who's now, we were two guys from the West Coast of Canada. Now he's the head of sports science for the Golden State Warriors and had a big impact on the Warriors, but just a brilliant movement mind and genius. And just so a lot of the fundamentals though that I learned in my career, I thought I learned could be really impactful for everybody. So just little principles of movement like mobility, stability, balance, coordination. These things are the fitness industry, we're taught you have to go out there and you have to, walk or run for an hour 3 times a week. I think that can be very inaccessible to a lot of people. I think there's a smarter way to do this. We're talking about a lot of people that maybe they're intimidated to start. So whether
you have a daily 8 routine
or,
for something like, I think I read that, or I might have saw on Good Morning America. First of all, you were on Good Morning America, and I think you're hinting to the point of you create a routine that like you could actually get into a routine of it. You don't have to almost derail your schedule to do this daily 8 routine, right?
That's right. So that was the one of the evolutions of this whole concept was I wanted to share like the movement training principles that I'd learned because I think they can extend people's health span, right? So we talk about lifespan in the United States, average lifespan is 77. Average health span, which is a growing term, is your good health years where you're active, you're living your best life, and you're avoiding chronic disease. That's 63 and kind of plateauing. So like our good years are kind of plateauing, but we're living longer because of medicine. We should be able to close that gap where people can live a decade or two more at a high level where they're having great quality of life. And so fundamental to health span are exercise, mental health, diet, sleep, and social interaction. But exercise, and we say movement because the fundamentals of movement are purposeful quality movement are going to be long lasting and longevity inducing. But exercise is also research shown to help sleep, to help mental health, to help dietary choices, and to be the people that are more active are more likely to be socially interactive. So movement is a trigger for all the pillars of health span. So what I really want is to make it accessible for people. And so then I said, it doesn't matter if I have, Rick Celebrini and the best methodology in the world. If people aren't going to make a healthy habit out of movement, we're not going to make an impact. So I really started to study the habit sciences and what it takes to create a habit. And one of the principles of habits is to make it almost harder to fail to begin. So 8 minutes.
Is that why you made it so small? Yeah, I was going to say, is that why you pretty much shrunk it down? 8 minutes in your day makes you almost feel guilty if you don't do it, because it's like, oh, I couldn't do 8 minutes to my movement today, to my body, to my health, to my mind.
That's right. And so what it is like, it's whether it's you that's an elite athlete that wants to just stay super fit and active. It could be something you do before you go work out or whatever it is that you want to do. Or it's someone that's really, I don't know where to start. But I know I fail every time I got to go to a group fitness class or I got to start a running program. It's too much. I don't know how to fit it in my life, especially when we get to our 30s. We wake up not feeling quite the same. We have a career, we might have a family, we have all sorts of obstacles. So creating a healthy habit, if you can't invest 8 minutes, I'm not sure how else I can help you. So
like there's nothing else you can do for them, Steve.
Right. So we try to make it we're going to give you a pathway to create a healthy habit, and hopefully you do it every day. But at minimum you do it every other day. But what you do is you hopefully at some point in your day have 8 minutes to do mobility and stability. There's 3 different intensities. So my mom in her 70s could do intensity 1, and you can build your way up, or you could stay at intensity 1. And at the end of the 8 minutes, if you want to stick around because you're warm and this is all you're going to do today physically, there's a 4-minute Tabata. But if all you want to do is the 8 minutes, or all you want to do is 4 of the 8 minutes, you are now creating a healthy habit if you can do it consistently. what the habit sciences also say is once you create a healthy habit, they beget more healthy habits. So now you start to make better choices. You're more active. You're more likely to make better dietary choices. It improves your mood. So that was a big thing for me. Is I'm a super active person. I play tennis and soccer like 4, 5, 6 times a week, depending on the week. I get a sweat every. Yeah, I get a sweat every day, really as much because I'm a physical person as because of my mental health. I can't sit until I've moved. And so, but for me, doing the daily, creating it and then doing it, which is kind of based off things I do in the morning anyways, while I'm getting the kids ready for school, I like get my little 10, 15 minutes when they're settled to like get some movement in. But I built it. And what I realized by doing it every single day and being religious about it is that I start my day with an accomplishment. Now have momentum.
Yeah.
I'm in a better mood. I have presence. I can now invest in my relationships from a position of strength rather than, I'm not quite here. I'm thinking about a million things. I'm not organized in my mind. So it's like the mood, the mental health, the ability now to take on your day, the choices you make after doing that or starting your day in that way. And this is designed for everybody. So whether you are going to go to the gym and lift big weights, this is a great warm up for you. Whether you're going to go play a sport, great. If you're someone that's just looking to create a fitness routine or a healthy habit, this is a place to start and a place to stay with as you grow through it. Or as maybe you make this a healthy habit and then you become a runner or a cyclist or you play a sport. But there has to be an avenue for people to move and extend their health span through movement.
No, I mean, it's interesting you talk about your mental health so much because I would think that when you played in the NBA, did people value mental health as much as we value it now? Because I think that like it's great to hear you say that because a lot of times even I would say even when I played, it wasn't as valued as much as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is almost like a new beginning or a new age type of athlete.
100%. I'm glad that now we talk about mental health. When I remember like maybe my first 2 years in the league having a lot of anxiety, but didn't even know what it was. Like we didn't express it. You just were like,
because you had to be okay.
Why do I feel this way? Why am I so nervous? Like, after lunch on the day of a game, like this is crazy. This is not healthy. But I didn't know like you're anxious. Let's talk this out. Let's figure this out. Let's realize why. I was just like, bury that, internalize that, get rid of that so I could keep going, be there early, stay late, keep competing, fighting. I got my way through it, but it's not always the way, right? Like not everyone has a path through that. And so movement, exercise has been proven to be by far the most effective antidepressant and most relevant mood booster, all those things. But more importantly than that, I'm hopefully that we can make an impact on people's mental health. It's just great that people can talk about it now because we all have to build our minds and our mentality and our willpower and our mood and all those components of being able to navigate life. And so it's a powerful tool that now we're open to expressing it because it definitely wasn't always the case.
No, I love that. It seems like you built box training almost off of athlete tendencies where they say athletes you can do a book like put a timer on when he walks in the building, what their schedule is. And so getting into a routine, we know as athletes is really everything. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk to you about point guard to point guard because whenever you look, I'm sorry, block training is what I meant to say, but whenever you talk about point guard to point guard, I think that that's what like point guards do. They control, like you even said it, like you're like, I'm internalizing it. I'm getting rid of it because every day point guards have to be okay. Like there's certain things that point guards, you can't walk into like if you walk into the gym and your energy isn't right, it's going to be so noticeable because point guards have this added pressure to every day bring it, know what's going on, have a good positive energy. Do you think that I would say in this day and age, has the term point guard changed almost in a sense of that's not necessarily all the requirements?
Wow, I think I've never heard that before. I think you really made a great comment there. One, I think the point guard position has changed. It's now become more like a first point of attack rather than like the person in charge of running the team. But your comment about the mood of the point guard being so important and infectious because you are the point of attack, whether you're an organizer, a facilitator, or a scorer, you have the ball, you are the first kind of image that your teammates see when they start a possession or at either end of the floor. And so I never thought about it that way, but that is a big responsibility to be as even keel, to be, as you said, okay, and not even keel under pressure, but more than okay just in general. Like,
Literally.
right? Like you have to have an infectious energy most of the time, or else you're not really handling your responsibilities as a point guard. So I think that's really interesting. I've never heard someone talk about it in those terms, but that is a really important measure of being a connector. Is being in a good mood, or bringing positive energy, or not bringing negative energy, or bringing the room down. So that's an astute point, but I do think it has changed today. I also feel for this generation of players. You know, they grow up with social media, and there's just it's such a different, all-encompassing thing that has affected them. And I feel for them. It's unavoidable. It's the world they grew up in, and it's not going away. So we're not changing that. It's like we have to learn to adapt and handle it. And so that's just another element that players today have to recognize and have to deal with. And that can be very difficult. So yeah, I think the point guard's role has changed, but I think that old school DNA can also be a huge, huge part of a successful point guard and a successful team.
To listen to the full interview with Steve Nash, tap into MoCo tomorrow. And now we have the point guards of the family, the mamas. All right, let's get it popping with the crew. Now, we just had a lot of point guard energy, big point guard energy on the pod. But you know what I was kind of thinking? Moms are the point guards of the family. I feel like the moms are constantly setting up the family for success. They know where the kids are supposed to be. Like a point guard knows all the plays that are supposed to happen. They know everything that's going on. They're the heartbeat of the team. So on that same thought, first of all, actually, hello family. What have you guys been doing lately? It's funny because I'm on the go a lot, you guys. So this is almost our family catch-up time. So hello, family. What's good, squad? What y'all watching? What y'all watching on TV? What's going on?
Well, let me just step in there. When you said the moms are the point guards, I think we play all 5 positions. You know what I mean?
Okay, position. Snook said, I'm positionless, honey. Don't just put me in a box. The new age athlete where they don't even want to label. I was a proud point guard. I'm like, point guards in the building.
You get it started, but you know, there's a team, and usually the mom is team 5.
Oh goodness. Okay, well, positionless team 5. What you got on the tube lately?
Well, you know, I have to start out with let me just prioritize it. Mine's kind of a quadri of things. So first of all, you know, the NBA playoffs are on, so you always have to keep up with that. And then I always keep in touch with the news because, you know, ain't nothing going on in the news but the blues, so I have to know what's going on there. And so I can stay out of the way of that. I like joy in my life. But
Joy
anyway.
pain.
And then we marathon watch. I guess if I wanted to really say what we marathon watch, we just finished watching Will Trent. Very good series.
Oh, we're watching that too.
First of all, they watched it without us. Shouts to
yeah, we started that together.
I was like, I saved that show. I was not even watching the show. I was waiting for whenever my family come visit. It's always hard to find TV to watch with Diddy because Diddy, you can't have no cussing, no kissing, no nothing sexual, nothing that might be inappropriate. So you can see how that could limit you from most of television today. So we found a good show in Will Trent. I'm like, oh, this is perfect for Diddy. He'll love this. And then we watched it and he really loved it. So we introduced them to Will Trent.
But it has some of that in there.
It has some of that in there, but Diddy will watch it okay with Snook by herself. But if he's watching it with us or the grandbabies, it's like it's a no-go. But he enjoyed the show, and then they just went and watched the whole thing without us.
Okay, and then Abbott Elementary. That's, you know, we did that, so we have to find something else to marathon watch.
I love that though. Abbott, shouts to Abbott Elementary.
Yeah,
Cole, what you got? Sam, what you got on the tube? What you watching, baby?
Oh, no, I was just gonna comment on the whole Will Trent thing. I remember when Snook and Diddy came in town, we're like, oh yeah, we were gonna save it for them to watch. And then when we put it on, Diddy's like, oh yeah, that episode, that's a good episode. Y'all should watch that. We're like, what?
I was so confused. I'm like, Diddy, how do you know this is a good episode? He's like, I already seen this one, baby.
What happened in this part? I'm
watch
like,
this part. Watch this part. I'm like, come on.
Every time we sit down, he wants to turn on Will Trent. He loved it.
I don't like that show. He took off without me. What'd you say, Cole? What you watching, Cole?
So with our busy schedule, Vance has a very busy schedule, but when we do get our couple of minutes, I am consumed with the playoffs. And now he's taking an affinity to the baseball because the Orioles are doing good.
What?
So yeah, the Orioles are doing pretty good. So now we're really on snooze factor watching baseball games. So that's all I've had time to sit down and look at.
I'll take my nephew playing baseball over football any day,
I
and
know.
twice on Sunday. So I'm with that. If he wants to,
Switch
okay,
it over. I know.
come on
Listen.
with it.
But
Come
he is
on.
a sports connoisseur. The other day he's watching lacrosse. One day he watching hockey. He don't care what it is as long as
he's
it's a
just an
sport.
athlete, right?
Serena and I, like, we've been watching half the shows that everybody been saying.
Yeah,
so we watch a lot
we've
of
been
TV.
watching Candy Montgomery too. That show
Definitely Candy.
and The Power on Prime is good too.
The Power. He was talking about Power with Ghost. We were watching The Power on Prime, but we also been watching NBA like Snook and Cole and everybody else. We have to catch up on Abbott Elementary. Like, we got to do a good binge fest on Abbott, but Serena and I have been locked in. And honestly, when I think about it, like, we've been watching Dear Mama, right? It's on FX. It's about Tupac and his mom and his family. He was raised by the Black Panthers. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but it's just like, first of all, to see like that footage almost felt like it was fake footage, because it was like, dang, we right here in the thick of it. We was in the meetings, we was in the room where it happened. So it was just crazy to see that documentary, and they put it together perfectly. Like the way they used the music at the right times, and to show his genius. And a lot of times with a genius there comes flaws, and it makes me think of, like, right now we're talking about, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and a lot of people are talking about mental health awareness aspect of Dear Mama, where he even would say it like, we need help. These young kids is being raised now. He would like literally be saying the things that now we recognize is called mental health. Like, he was basically saying we need mental health awareness for our Black community. And so it was like, dang, that's crazy that sometimes a genius is so far ahead of their time. But has anybody seen Dear Mama? What are y'all's thoughts if you have? Because that blew my mind. Like,
Well, a lot of it I feel like I lived. As I was talking to Mom, Tupac was only 7 years older than I was. So when he was like big and heavy,
right.
all that, the Suge Knight, Death Row, the music award shows and all that, I kind of like, it was like remembering. It was like going back, because I knew every word to every song Tupac ever made. Now,
So
I didn't
did
know
I.
anything about, I know
So
nothing
did
about
I.
the lifestyle, right, Mom? Nothing about the lifestyle that I know, but I loved the music. I loved everything about it. So I kind of was almost kind of like, just to learn, like learning the backstory of the people in his life, like Glow.
Right.
I love On Glow. She
Come
was
on, Glow.
great.
That's an MVP for real.
So I
Yeah.
loved it. I thought it was really good. I thought it took me back. Every time they put a song on, I was up here singing every word, getting the sway on. But it was really good. They did a great job with it.
Love
they
that.
did.
Snook, what'd you think about it? Did you see it? What'd you think about it?
Okay, well, I did. And again, like Nikki, I lived a lot of that. And, when they were talking about the struggle, there was two sides to the struggle. There was the nonviolent side, and then there was the more activist side that was a little bit more violent. And I felt like I was kind of caught between the middle of both of them with my grandparents. Now, they taught us to always do right, to treat people right, and all of that. And, for us not to do anything mean to other people. But when someone did something to you, put their hands on you, then they jumped onto the other side of the coin there, and they said, balance is okay at that point
Oh,
once
Lord.
they
Oh my God.
cross the line.
I agree.
And so that's the way I was raised, and it brought back a lot of memories, because right now I think we are almost in a worse state in this country as we were back then. And I don't think that since we've been through what we've been through, that the way out of it this time is not going to be so is, I don't want to say easy, but it's not going to be so forthcoming. Let me
Or
say it that
civil.
way.
Right.
Or
Right.
civil, correct.
Yeah, no, and I agree with what you're talking about too, with the mental health aspect of it. Like when I was looking on Twitter, people were talking about it. They were like, "Oh, it's so sad that that basically like Fanny, she was suffering from PTSD, which a lot of people in the community, they don't get help for those kinds of things. So this is like, it's been a stigma for so many years. Now it's kind of starting to get destigmatized. I don't know if that's the word for it, but like that's what led to her addiction, and that you see that a lot in the community, and it's so sad because it's like when you don't have professional medical help for those kind of things, you do see a lot of people resort to other means to just kind of escape it all. And it's incredible. It made me cry at the end when when Glow, she was talking about that the fact that they existed and the fact that they were able to do everything that they did despite like everything that they went through. Like she was pregnant with him in jail, and like even his name, like that was something that really stood out to me too, that she said that she named him Tupac Amaru because of the I think it was like an Inca, an Incan emperor or Incan king or something, that his people were basically taken over by the Spanish conquistadors, and she wanted people to know that this happened to other people as well. And I was like, wow, like the fact that she dedicated her whole being, her son, to this, to just humanity, is just she was an incredible woman.
She was amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
she was.
And served as a lawyer and was very successful. I mean, she broke that courtroom down, so
really did. I mean,
she was
imagine
incredibly smart.
Yeah, imagine too, to know how large the case was, because it's like, if I'm going to represent myself for a speeding ticket, I think I got this. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that me, you, and the cop, we can go head to head. I think I can handle my own. But for the things that they were accusing her of, it's like for you to represent yourself, and not only yourself, but that you're going to have a trickle effect of what happens with everybody else, and still did it and was still successful. Like, who does that? But she did it.
I think that more so, being that what they were being charged with, they couldn't trust the public defender, and they definitely couldn't afford a real attorney. So they had to kind of bet on themselves, because at that point, the way they were stacking the deck against them, they thought they had nothing to lose. So at least get the word out of what really happened, what was really going on. It did work to her benefit because she was so intelligent, and they did not expect that. So that was where she caught them off guard. But what public defender were they going to get? I mean, I think
it's tough, but it's still, honestly too, though, even if I didn't have options, I could say, all right, I'm betting on myself, and I could bomb and do terrible. So I'm like, the fact that she bet on herself is not necessarily the groundbreaking thing, but it's like, dang, you got yourselves out of this type of case. Like, I think I could win against a ticket case, like I was saying, but I think
she said that nobody was going to be able to tell her story better than her, and she was right. And they said that she thought that she was going to go on the stand, but she put the other people on the stand. The guy who was infiltrating the Black Panther.
Yeah, I love that too, because I'm going to end it right here, because we could talk about this forever. But she basically said when there were undercover people, I think they called it, what is it, no intel or pro intel or something like that. Those undercover people would behave all the ways like Black Panthers, in a sense of also to create relationships. Obviously, she dated within the Black Panther Party because, proximity and like-mindedness. I could see how that could happen. But when you have an undercover cop doing that, she started to ask the question, so when you were sleeping with women in the Black Panther Party, were you an undercover cop or were you a Black Panther? And she went down a list of multiple things. When we raided this place, were you an undercover cop or were you a Black Panther? And she went list by list by list. And that's why I think, look, first and foremost, I always say, moms, man, Snook don't want to be a PG, but there was a mama on the stand that day, and she was a mom of
I didn't say I didn't want to be a PG.
She said she want to be.
She's a clutch player. Isn't that a clutch player?
Snook want to be the clutch player where she gonna just be whatever we need us to be. But honestly, if you think about that, that's what moms are. So, dear mama, man, that was a beautiful documentary. You could tell that they put time, thought into it. You could tell that they was going to give you the real, raw transparency. And honestly, that's what point guards do. I'm going back to that because this is a point guard episode, baby. We'll talk to y'all next week. We'll see y'all next week, where it's a generational thing here at Montgomery & Company.